There is a looming government shutdown. The government is scheduled to shut down next week on October the 1st if things don't go into place that need to prevent this shutdown from happening. So let's get right into today's video. Happy Wednesday, y'all. I hope that everybody is doing great today. We are going to just talk about exactly what's going on, and that is the pending government shutdown. The odds of the shutdown happening are pretty high at this time because the House and Senate aren't meeting this week. We are going into Thursday, and they have no scheduled meetings for this week. And I'm sure you guys are thinking, you're not worried about it because we always hear the threat of government shutdowns and it doesn't happen. So we kind of just move about our day and our life until the next one comes up, and then people talk about it and then it goes away. I do honestly feel like this could really happen this time just because everything that has been happening. I wouldn't be surprised if, in fact, the government did shut down next week. What's causing this divide? Republicans want the government to be funded the same way through, late November with no changes to the policies. Democrats disagree. So if they can't come to an agreement, both the House and the Senate, you can expect a shutdown. I do want to let you guys know what will be impacted because there will be many people affected by this shutdown if it does in fact happen. Social Security checks will not be impacted. There will be no disruptions to Medicaid and Medicare. Some other government services will be affected by this, and those offices that are related to that most likely will be shut down because of that. When it comes to paychecks, people will not be receiving their paychecks. Federal contractors may lose money. They will lose pay. Federal employees as well as military members will face a delay, and this can happen with their first paycheck after the shutdown, which will be October the 10th. I will go ahead and say there is a 2019 law that was passed, and once everything reopens, they will be required to pay people back pay. However, this does not cover the federal contractors. Believe it or not, just because there's a shutdown does not mean that there will not be people forced to go to work, even though they are not being paid. The president will determine who is essential and who's not essential. And again, regardless of that, you will be expected to report for work. There will be impacts to services and programs, and it doesn't matter whether there is a full or a partial shutdown. It has been about 7 years since the last shutdown. The last shutdown was in 2018, 2019. And some facts about that. There was a partial shutdown. The FDA suspended routine inspections while that happened. National parks, stopped trash collection and road repairs. 86,000 immigration court hearings were canceled, exacerbating the existing backlogs. TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families, can also be affected. Air traffic controller, transportation security, also known as TSA workers, and customs and border agents will remain on the job without pay. That can lead to significant delays and, wait times when it comes to travel. The post office will not be affected. When the last shutdown happened in 2018, 2019, it cost the U.S. economy over $11 billion. And there were also some effects on small business loans, and that was over $2 billion. That $2 billion was delayed because of the shutdown. As you know, we are in the peak of hurricane season, so FEMA will still respond to emergencies, which that's questionable, but let's carry on. Long-term projects will be delayed due to the lack of funding in the Disaster Relief Fund. WIC, known as Women, Infants, and Children's, will quickly run out of funding should there be a government shutdown. Food stamps, SNAP, or whatever you want to refer to it as, will also be affected if there is a prolonged period of a shutdown. The FDA will also be affected. They routinely do inspections and things like that, which, okay, we're moving along from that because I have some thoughts on that. But anyways, they will be affected. The EPA, FHA, HUD, USDA will all be affected. Please do your own research. Please research everything, read about it in depth and make sure that you are up to date on those things. The National Institutes of Health will be forced to delay new clinical trials. That means that new patients who are waiting for a chance at a new treatment through a clinical trial will be turned away. We've had previous shutdowns that have lasted upwards of 40-something days. So I want you guys to prepare accordingly. And you don't have to go out and hoard and, grab everything off the shelf, but make sure you are getting extra and setting extra back at all times. You don't know how big this is going to affect everything. It can get down to, it affecting the, supply and food chain if, the FDA isn't inspecting it, for lack of better words. If the FDA can't go and do these inspections and things, you don't know how deep it goes into that with affecting our food chain. even though, like I said, that's questionable. But again, just make sure that you're paying attention, do your own research, find out who is closing, who could possibly close, and we have to just prepare accordingly because there is so much happening. I really do feel like this shutdown can actually happen. This has the potential to have a really big impact on a lot of people. So I want you guys to take that into account, make sure that you prep and prepare accordingly. I know that, times are hard, but you got to find a way to do something. Make sure you're looking at those store flyers. If you have to go in with a family member or a close friend that you trust and, bulk buy, if that helps, and split, the packaging, do what you have to do to prepare for your family because, again, nobody's coming to save you. Don't depend on anybody but yourself. Don't depend on the government or anybody like that. Make sure you are just making a way to make sure that you have items in your home, especially pantry staples. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.